Hello, I'm Annette Young and welcome to the 51%, a show about women reshaping our world. Coming up, we take a look at the continuing fallout from the highly controversial Stanford rape case that sparked a global debate on sexual consent. Also, we talk to Danish anthropologist and diversity specialist Tinna Nielsen on how to rewire our brains when it comes to gender bias. And Pitch Perfect, the Sudanese all-girl group that's still performing some 45 years on. But we begin in the United States, where a rape case has provoked a global conversation about sexual consent and the stigma attached to survivors. The case in question saw a student at the prestigious Stanford University given just a 6-month sentence after being convicted of raping an unconscious woman. The victim made headlines by releasing a heart-wrenching letter detailing the rape and its aftermath. Kate Moody has more.
It's time to take a stand.
Her name and face remain unknown, but the words of the victim in the Stanford rape case have resonated across the globe. A raw and graphic letter describing the horror of her assault and her treatment thereafter. You don't know me, but you've been inside me, and that's why we're here today. After a physical assault, I was assaulted with questions designed to attack me. You took away my worth, my privacy, my energy, my time, my safety, my intimacy, my confidence, my own voice, until today. The convicted assailant, Brock Turner, was given 6 months jail time and probation, a punishment that the survivor and her now millions of supporters believe was far too light. There's been an international backlash against the judge who sentenced him, as well as against Turner and his family. But a deeper underlying problem has also been exposed: the culture of sexual assault on American college campuses and beyond.
The way that we talk about and respond to sexual violence matters. There is a gap in some of the knowledge and information that we provide to young adults and to young people as they develop about what makes relationships healthy, what makes sex safe and consensual.
The U.S. Justice Department says 1 in 6 American women will be the victims of rape or attempted rape in their lifetimes. As the Stanford case made international headlines, the victim's letter went viral, bringing awareness to the plight of survivors of sexual assault.
This survivor has really been a mobilizing agent, and it's helping people to understand not only one person's experience, but that cultural norms must shift.
Campaigners have been circulating a 2015 video by an English police department using a cup of tea as an analogy for sex, a striking and simple illustration of a problem with a clear solution.
If you can understand how completely ludicrous it is to force people to have tea when they don't want tea, and you are able to understand when people don't want tea, then how hard is it to understand when it comes to sex? Whether it's tea or sex, consent is everything.
Now, when it comes to promoting gender equality in the workplace, how do you do it by ensuring that everybody is on board, be they men or women? Tinna Nielsen is a Danish anthropologist who's now working as a diversity specialist, having established a non-for-profit organisation called Move the Elephant for Inclusiveness. It aims to create cultural and behavioural change within organisations. She's in Paris to attend the Jump EU Forum and joins us here in the studio today. Tinna, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
How do you exactly change deeply ingrained cultural biases?
It's very difficult. So I actually don't aim to change them. I aim to reduce the impact that unconscious bias have in our leadership and decision-making and the way we collaborate. And that requires that you design interventions. It's not so much about convincing people and giving them awareness of their biases, because that can be too hard for people to do something with. But you can actually design interventions or exercises.
So give us some examples of how you actually do that.
Yeah, so I don't come in and convince people. I come in and show them their biases in a particular situation. So that I use an exercise with pictures, because when we know when people meet people or collaborate with people, we always rate them fast on, are they trustworthy, or do I like them, do I feel safe with them, and on competency and ability. And then I try to show them this instead of talk about it. So I give them pictures. That could be a serial killer that I know fits the Mr. Corporate masculinity norm, or it can be my husband, whom I know triggers association and biases about terrorists or criminals. It is a very successful woman in the banking sector, and she's an elderly woman, which triggers pity. And a very beautiful young woman, and sometimes an obese person, or So I use different pictures that I know triggers some particular stereotypes.
So what are their responses when they see those photos?
The responses are, I cannot believe this. They're shocked. It's an eye-opening experience for them to see the bias, especially when I tell them that the one they rated the lowest on competency and warm is my husband, and I've been married to him for 15 years, and he is a very warm and competent guy. And that just really, it's kind of like a push of the unconscious mind instead of talking to the rational mind. So kind of see that we have two systems in the brain.
But whenever you're trying to change things, there's always pushback. So how do you respond to that?
I respond in the way I say there is no resistance to change, really. It's about not having motivated the part of the brain that's doing the behavior. So it can also be that you redesign the processes and mitigate the biases as a part of, say, a recruitment process. So you anonymize the candidates. You simply help the unconscious mind not to be controlled by the biases, but be more objective in the evaluation. Just the fact that you can't see a picture, like with the picture exercise, you can't see it, then you rate people more on their skills.
And the name of your organisation is Move the Elephant.
Yes.
What does it mean?
It's because I've always been searching for other ways to do this than having to convince people, having to get people to get it. So I was looking for different ways of doing this, and I came across this brain analogy about the two brain systems being like an elephant and its rider. And the rider on top of the elephant is the rational mind. So you can present the business case, and I was like, I get it. Yeah, we want to be inclusive. We want diversity. But if the unconscious mind, which is the 6-ton heavy elephant, is not motivated to change, there's no way it's going to happen. So how can you move the elephant? And when I found the techniques to this, and I merged my techniques with another internal practitioner, Lisa Kapinski, and we found that these design principles actually was working well. So I founded my nonprofit with that name because that was really what fundamentally changed the way I work with this, how to reduce biases.
Diversity and inclusiveness are very much buzzwords in the corporate sector at the moment, but part of the process does unfortunately seem to result in men feeling that they're being sidelined. So how do you deal with that?
I deal with it in the sense I don't use the buzzwords, because unfortunately diversity triggers some wrong associations in the sense we're here to help minorities or women, and inclusion is about me losing my privileges. So I don't use those terms, and it's really about being like an undercover agent, integrating this in the already existing processes. So we're designing a strategy. Make sure that how we collaborate in that team and make the decisions, that everybody's voice is being leveraged. Because without saying we have to be inclusive of diversity, that's one of the tricks, is this is a good recruitment process. This will ensure we get the best qualified candidate, not an inclusive, diverse recruitment process. We don't put the labels on. And it's very much about making sure that everybody has those eye-openers without labeling it. I'm now doing unconscious bias awareness training on you, so you're here to be fixed. We don't use those buzzwords, and we see that this works much better.
What do organisations stand to gain if they implement these practices?
That people are highly engaged, that they will see people release potential they didn't even know they had themselves, that we can make better decisions, that we can future-proof our organizations, that we are agile. And everybody wants high performance. They want agility. They want to be ready for this future. Requires that we use different voices and different perspectives on the challenges.
Tinna Nielsen, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
To Sudan now, where we take a look at a local girl band, the Nightingales, with a much, much deeper history than you might expect. Dubbed the Sudanese Supremes, they've actually been going on for longer than most, as Luke Schrago explains.
Strutting on stage in Khartoum, the Nightingales still have what it takes to draw a crowd, 45 years after they first formed.
At that time, it was difficult for a woman to sing. On the artistic scene, there were only 2 or 3 women, so it was hard for a man to have young daughters singing. Society looked at it as something strange.
The trio came together when a family friend asked them to perform a song he'd written. It went so well they began touring, and Amal, Hadia and Hayat even caught the eye of the president himself.
It was a very vibrant time for culture and arts and sport, all of them. Any journey President Jafar al-Numeri made, he took a delegation representing all kinds of arts and sports in Sudan.
The Nightingales blended aspects of local pop and folk music with soulful vocals, their matching bobs and dresses earning them a reputation as the Sudanese Supremes. By 1988, all 3 were married and played their final concert in Khartoum that year, and Amal and Hadia later left for the US. It was only when they performed at a New York Sudanese festival in 2007 people urged them to reform. Despite apprehension, they found packed streets waiting for them, and now tour the nation whenever they're all there together.
And that's it for now. And if you'd like to comment on what you've just seen, you can head to our Facebook page. That's France24 51%, or do send us a tweet at _51%. Thanks for your feedback so far, and please keep those comments coming in. So until our next program, bye for now.